Good evening, everyone. Hi. How is everyone today? And this one wants want to say hi as well. Hi. I'm watching you. So to the people which haven't been in here before, I'm gonna show you what May has made. This is made by May, which is the reason I call her my bookmark pusher. Because May is great at making bookmarks and much other and many other things. So I got one bookmark made for every book in the series. Yeah, May is amazing. Yeah, that is very true. So I also have two other bookmarks for the two other books. And of course they will be shown off when I'm done with the book. With the book number one. So yeah. And to everyone which haven't been here, we are at chapter 12 now. But everything I have read until now is also available on my YouTube channel. And to be honest, I can't remember if I have a link for it. I think I have. Maybe. Or maybe it's just this. Yeah, it was that one. Remembering things. Yeah, no. I know I have mentioned the YouTube channel before, but I don't think I have mentioned it every stream, to be honest. But yeah, all of my links is just there. And yeah, I have a YouTube and I have a Discord. That's it. Yeah, the Buddy Spoon is designed and drawn by Miss Deathheart, which reminds me, I have to write Miss Deathheart because she is very bad at remembering. Eh. Even though she has an alarm set for each of my streams, she just forgets. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? Whatever. Fuck it. Just press next. Yeah, I don't know. I never know. I'm always left out of the conversations. Brain just boy. Hi, Stevie. But at least I got my bunny cup. I love this cup. That cup is very precious to me. Yeah, it's very amazing. and it's designed by Anita and sold by Anita. Anita da da da. Or Potita, as I call her. But yeah, I have water, I have tea, and I have backup tea. So I think we are ready to start the book reading. And please don't hesitate to remind me to hydrate, because I fucking forget it. I seriously forget it every damn time. It makes no sense why I forget it, but yeah. I just forget to hydrate. Nom 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 nom. Oh yeah, I also bought another bunny. And this has light in it. It is a very nice bunny. And I'll try to remember to turn it on when I stream. So I just kind of have a little night light. Because it's very cute. At least in my opinion. And then I have a bunny candle. This one is very amazing. I actually really love this. Yeah. Huh. And be aware when Mr. Thart comes in, you will be aware she's here. Because he tends to like spam the redeem of my love. Because she really loves it. Thanks. I don't know that. I don't know that person. I just want to see who that is. Oh, and an artist. Nice. And a Twitcher. Stop. I don't want to hear it. Oh, very nice. Thank you for the recommendation, Lisa. Very nice. But yeah, I found the That's very nice. But I found the story you were talking about. Should we do that first and then go into the stream? Or how should we do it? Hi, LOTR. Yeah, the Jade Rabbit. I found a PDF about the story. I actually think it's a very good story. But I will only read it when you guys are... If you guys... Oh, that's very nice. I also need to see some dates. Oh, it's a Tuesday. Oh, then we can do it right before. Nice. Yeah, I really need to set up that yawn command. Miss Deathheart thought it was a proper thing for me to have a yawn command because I yawn so much at stream. That we should set one up. Hey, we don't do that here, Earthling. Bad mod. No, you don't. You don't have proof. I tell you, you don't have proof. Bad Earthling. I tell you, you don't have. You don't have it. We don't do those things here. Objection. You can't object a bonbon. I have something to say to you, Earthling. Talk to the puff. Oh, now we're being violent, I see. Eat spoon. No, Earthling, we eat with a spoon. We don't eat the spoon. But yeah, I think I will save this for when it's relevant. There we go. Well, you can eat your spoon. I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, let's start with the reading, and we are at chapter 12 because we just finished before, and we are in the middle of a fight with the Black Riders. Chapter 12. Flight to the fort. When Frodo came to himself, he was still clutching the ring desperately. He was lying by the fire, which was now piled high and burning brightly. His three companions were bending over him. What has happened? Where is the Pale King? He asked wildly. They were too overjoyed to hear him speak to answer for a while. Nor did they understand his question. At length he gathered from Sam that they had seen nothing but the vague shadowy shapes coming towards them. Suddenly, to his horror, Sam found that his master had vanished. And at that moment, a black shadow rushed past him, and he fell. He heard Frodo's voice, but it seemed to come from a great distance, or from under the earth. Crying out strange words. They saw nothing more until they stumbled over the body of Frodo, lying as if dead, face downwards on the grass with his sword beneath him. Strider ordered them to pick him up and lay him near the fire, and then he disappeared. That was now a good while ago. Sam plainly was beginning to have doubts again about Strider. But while they were talking, he returned, appearing suddenly out of the shadows. They started, and Sam drew his sword and stood over Frodo. But Strider knelt down swiftly at his side. "I'm not a Black Rider, Sam," he said gently, "nor in league with them. I have been trying to discover something of their movements, but I have found nothing. I cannot think why they have gone and do not attack again. But there is no feeling of their presence anywhere at hand." When he heard what Frodo had to tell, he became full of concern and shook his head and sighed. Then he ordered Pippin and Merry to reheat as much water as they could in their small kettles, and to bathe the wound with it. "Keep the fire going well, and keep Frodo warm," he said. Then he got up and walked away, and called Sam to him. "I think I understand things better now," he said in a low voice. "There seem only to have been 5 of the enemy. Why they were not all here, I don't know. But I don't think they expected to be resisted. They have drawn off for the time being, but not far, I fear. They will come again another night, if we cannot escape. They are only waiting because they think that their purpose is almost accomplished, and that the ring cannot fly much further. I fear, Sam, that they believe your master has a deadly wound that will subdue him to their will. We shall see." Sam choked with tears. "Don't despair," said Strider. "You must trust me now. Your Frodo is made of sterner stuff than I had guessed, though Gandalf hinted that it might prove so. He is not slain, and I think he will resist the evil power of the wound longer than his enemies expect. I will do all I can to help him and heal him. Guard him well while I'm away." He hurried off and disappeared again into the darkness. And now we can go to back to some more relaxing sounds. Because now it's only the hobbits being there. Frodo dozed, though the pain of his wound was slowly growing, and a deadly chill was spreading from his shoulder to his arm and side. His friends watched over him, warning him and bathing his wound. The night passed slowly and wearily. Dawn was growing in the sky, and the dell was filling with grey light, when Strider at last returned. "Look," he cried, and stooping he lifted from the ground a black cloak that had lain there hidden by the darkness. A foot above the lower hem there was a slash. "This was the stroke of Frodo's sword," he said. "The only hurt that I did to his enemy, I fear, for it is unharmed, but all blades perish that pierced the dreadful king. More deadly to him was the name of Ilbereth, and more deadly to Frodo was this. He stooped again and lifted up a long, thin knife. There was a cold gleam in it. As Strider raised it, they saw that near the end its edge was notched, and the point was broken off. But even as he held it up in the growing light, they gazed in astonishment. For the blade seemed to melt and vanish like a smoke in the air, leaving only the hilt in Strider's hand. Alas, he cried, it was this accursed knife that gave the wound. Few now have the skill in healing to match such evil weapons. But I will do what I can. Now I will take a little bit to drink. Hi, Vero. Hi. Well, I'm doing better now I'm here. That's for certain. But if you can, please bully Miss Deathheart, because this would be the second time she misses stream if she isn't here. Also, I heard something that we should. It's because I have put it in sideways, then it's kind of big. But if I do it like this, it's not very much bigger than the book. So it's only because I have put it like this. Yeah, it's not a very big book. Yeah. Yeah, it's a bit small. But the books are all the size. Which actually makes it easier to handle, in my opinion. 50 feet bunny? Nah, not really. But yeah, yeah, I heard something about we should get some chopsticks. Or was that wrong? Yeah, about that. So, Jinbun, do we need some chopsticks? Yeah, I can only do one of them. I think I can just I can see how many I have left. Emote attribution. Come on. Come on, everyone, we dance now. That's just the breath, the braids. That's what Bilbo Baggins hate. That's what jail the mat. The doctor, the better mat. That's a sore. Sent it out at every door. Oh shit. She's here. Hi, Mr. Thard. I just told everyone else that they would know when you arrived. And yeah, I don't think I'm wrong on that. So yeah. But Mr. Thard, the people is telling us that we need some bunny chopsticks. Chopsticks. Yeah, chopsticks. Or spisepinde, as they're called in Danish. Hi, Andrea. Welcome in. Nice to see you. Well, if you were doing them, you could do like whatever you wanted. Like it would totally be your ideas. Hi, Tommy. Hi. I'm a bad streamer. Very bad streamer. I knew. Not there. There and that one. Yeah. Oh boy. That is very nice of you, Andrea. Very nice. Well, just when you have time, okay? Then I would very much appreciate it. You know me, I don't rush people. But I'm allowed to bully you a little bit for coming like 35 minutes late into the stream. But now we go on with the reading of chapter 12. Vero, I don't believe you. literally can't be that little of an amount of time we have waited for Miss Deathheart. It literally can't be that low of an amount. I would believe you if you said like 1 billion. Maybe 1 billion years, around that. Yeah. Oh yeah. But here we go, going on with chapter 12. Yeah, Earthling is paying. Everyone saw it. Earthling is paying for the emote. Ooh, that is very nice. Ooh, even nicer. I think I need to install a light around the cam. Okay, and here we fly. Come on, everyone. Let's go. Someone get the patate. Get the patate. It's not your patate. It's mine. So now we still have 4 patates. Patate is very important for a hobbit. Don't forget that. Very important. Especially if you call semi scamgy. Then they are very, very important. Woohoo! 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 Okay, so we just landed in a little puddle of bunnies. Nice. You're more threatening the eyeball, Vero. More like threatening, yeah. Okay, guys, I just need to go and turn on the lights because it's simply getting too dark for me to read. But yeah, I need to find something that I can put that I could put around the camera to like get some kind of light down. So, but here we go. Let's see if we can hit 1 chapter today when Miss Deathheart is here. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know how, but it magically appeared. I think Gandalf came by to install it. Yeah, that must be how. Or maybe the elves came by with some mithril. So here we go. He sat down on the ground and taking the dagger hilt laid it on his knees, and he sang over it a slow song in a strange tongue. Then setting it aside, he turned to Frodo and in a soft tone spoke the words of the others could not catch. From the pouch at his belt he drew out the long leaves of a plant. These leaves, he said, I have walked far to find, for this plant does not grow in the bare hills, but in the thickets away south of the road I found in the dark by the scent of its leaves. He crushed a leaf in his fingers, and it gave out a sweet and pungent fragrance. It is fortunate that I could find it, for it is a healing plant that the men of the West brought to Middle-earth. Athelas they named it, and it grows now sparsely, and only near places where they dwelt or camped of old. And it is not known in the north, except to some of those who wander in the wild. It has great virtues, but over such a wound as this, its healing powers may be small. Are we now gonna jump again, Arthur? Well, then let's do it. Come on, everyone. Let's jump. Oh, my patate. Mwahaha. Oh, I dropped one as well. Nice. Come on, people. We need a lot of people in here. Come on. 3 is not enough. We need more people. And you have 10 seconds. And now we are 5. Nice. Oh my god, they're just attacking everyone. Damn. From one side to another. The possum was just licking everybody's ears. So now everyone is squeaky clean. Look at Miss Death Heart. She's very cute. Yeah, you don't have one because you don't have like a character I can put in. Give me a character I can put in, and then you will be there as well. And this is, of course, I think for all mods, VIPs, and artists. Remember, it has to be TOS. I know you. But here we go. He threw the leaves into boiling water and bathed Frodo's shoulder. The fragrance of the steam was refreshing, and those that were unhurt felt their minds calmed and cleared. The herb had also some power over the wound, for Frodo felt the pain and also the sense of frozen cold lessen in his side. but the life did not return to him, and he could not raise or use his hand. He bitterly regretted his foolishness, and reproached himself for weakness of will, for he now perceived that in putting on the ring he obeyed not his own desire, but the commanding wish of his enemies. He wondered if he would remain made for life, and how they would manage to continue their journey. He felt too weak to stand. The others were discussing this very question. They quickly decided to leave Weathertop as soon as possible. "I think now," said Strider, "that the enemy has been watching this place for some days. If Gandalf ever came here, then he must have been forced to ride away, and he will not return. In any case, we are in the great peril here after dark, since the attack of last night, and we can hardly meet greater danger wherever we go." As soon as the daylight was full, they had some hurried food and packed. It was impossible for Frodo to walk, so they divided the greater part of the baggage among the four of them, and put Frodo on the pony. In the last few days, the poor beast had improved wonderfully. It already seemed fatter and stronger, and had begun to show an affection for its new masters, especially for Sam. Bilferni's treatment must have been very hard for the journey in the wild to seem so much better than his former life. They started off in a southerly direction. It would mean crossing the road, but it was the quickest way to more wooded country, and it needed fuel. The Strider said that Frodo must be kept warm, especially at night, while fire would be some protection for them all. It was also his plan to shorten their journey by cutting across another great loop of the road. East beyond Weathertop, it changed its course and took a wide bend northwards. They made their way slowly and cautiously round the southwestern slopes of the hill, and came in a little while to the edge of the road. There was no sign of the riders, but even as they were hurrying across, they heard far away two cries: a cold voice calling, and a cold voice answering. Trembling, they sprang forward and made for the thickets that lay ahead. The land before them sloped away southwards, but it was wild and pathless. Bushes and stunted trees grew in dense patches with wide barren spaces in between. Yeah, I checked it, Mr. Third, and it's shit. Just as usual. The grass was scanty, coarse, and grey, and the leaves in the thickets were faded and falling. It was a cheerless land, and their journey was slow and gloomy. They spoke little as they trudged along. Frodo's heart was grieved as he watched them walking beside him with their heads down, and their backs bowed under the burdens. Even Strider seemed tired and heavy-hearted. Before the first day's march was over, Frodo's pain began to grow again, but he did not speak of it for a long time. 4 days passed without the ground or the scene changing much, except that behind them Weathertop slowly sank, and before them the distant mountains loomed a little nearer. Yet since that far cry they had seen and heard no sign that the enemy had marked their flight or follow them. They dreaded the dark hours and kept watch in pairs by night, expecting at any time to see black shapes stalking in the night, dimly lit by the cloud-veiled moon, and they saw nothing and heard no sound but the sigh of withered leaves and grass. Not once did they feel the sense of present evil that had assailed them before the attack in the dell. It seemed too much to hope that the riders had already lost the trail again. Perhaps they were waiting to make some ambush in a narrow place. At the end of the fifth day, the ground began once more to rise slowly out of the wide shallow valley into which they had descended. Strider now turned to their course again, northeastwards, and on the sixth day they reached the top of this long, slow-climbing slope and saw far ahead a huddle of wooded hills. Away below them, they could see the road sweeping around the feet of the hills. To the right, a grey river gleamed pale in the thin sunshine. In the distance, they glimpsed yet another river in a stony valley, half veiled in mist. "I'm afraid we must go back to the road for a while," said Strider. "We have now come to the river Horwell, that the elves call Mithriel. It flows down out of the Eden Moors, the Trollfells north of Rivendell, and joins the Loudwater away in the south. Some call it the Grey Flood after that. It was a great water before it found the seas. There is no way over it below its sources in the Eden Moors, except by the last bridge on which the road crosses. But is that other river we can see far away there?" asked Mary. "That is Loudwater, the Bruinen of Rivendell," answered Strider. "The road runs along the edge of the hills for many miles, from the bridge to the ford of Bruinen. But I have not yet thought how we shall cross that water. One river at a time. We shall be fortunate indeed if we do not find the last bridge held against us." Next day, early in the morning, they came down again to the borders of the road. Sam and Strider went forward, but they found no sign of any travelers or riders. Here under the shadow of the hills there had been some rain. Strider judged that it had fallen 2 days before and had washed away all footprints. No horseman had passed since then, as far as he could see. They hurried along with all the speed they could make, and after a mile or two they saw the last bridge ahead, at the bottom of a short steep slope. They dreaded to see black figures waiting there, but they saw none. Strider made them take cover in the thicket of the side of the road, while he went forward to explore. Before long he came hurrying back. "I can see no sign of the enemy," he said, "and I wonder very much what that means. But I found something very strange." He held out his hand and showed a single pale green jewel. "Oh, hi Nikki. Welcome in." He held out his hand and showed a single pale green jewel. "I found it in the mud in the middle of the bridge," he said. "It is a beryl, an elf stone. Whether it was set there or let fall by chance, I cannot say, but it brings hope to me. I will take it as a sign that we may cross, that we may pass the bridge. But beyond that, I dare not keep to the road without some clearer token. Oh, hi, Penguin! Hi! Long time since I have seen you. So let's see how many pages we have left. Yeah, the book is kind of weird. So we have about 19 pages left. At once they went on again. They crossed the bridge in safety, hearing no sounds but the water swirling against its three great arches. A mile further on, they came to a narrow ravine that led away northwards through the steep lands on the left of the road. Here Strider turned aside, and soon they were lost in sombre country of dark trees winding among the feet of the sullen hills. The hobbits were glad to leave the cheerless lands and the perilous road behind them. But this new country seemed threatening and unfriendly. As they went forward to the hills, about them steadily rose. Ah. Here and there upon heights and ridges they caught glimpses of ancient walls of stone and the ruins of towers. They had an ominous look. Frodo, who was not walking, had time to gaze ahead and to think. He recalled Bilbo's account of his journey and the threatening towers on the hills north of the road. In a country near the Troll's Wood, where his first serious adventure had happened. Frodo guessed that they were now in the same region and wondered if by chance they would pass near the spot. Who lives in this land? He asked. And who built these towers? Is this troll country? No, said Strider. Trolls do not build. No one lives in this land. Men once dwelt here, ages ago, but none remain now. They became an evil people, as legend tell, for they fell under the shadow of Angmar. But all were destroyed in the war that brought the North Kingdom to its end. But that is now so long ago that the hills have forgotten them, though a shadow still lies on the land. Where did you learn such tales, if all the land is empty and forgetful? Asked Peregrine. The birds and beasts do not tell tales of that sort. The heirs of Elendil do not forget all things past, said Strider. And many more things that I can tell are remembered in Rivendell. Have you often been to Rivendell? Said Frodo. I have, said Strider. I dwelt there once, and I still return when I may. There my heart is, but it is not my fate to sit in peace, even in the fair house of Elrond. The hills now began to shut them in. The road behind held on its way to the river Bruin. But both were now hidden from view. Travelers came into a long valley, narrow and deeply cloven, dark and silent. Trees with old and twisted roots hung over the cliffs. And piled up behind into mounting slopes of pinewood. The hobbits grew weary. They advanced slowly, for they had to pick their way through the pathless country, encumbered by fallen trees and tumbled rocks. As long as they could they avoided climbing for Frodo's sake, and because it was in fact difficult to find any way out of the narrow dales. Yes, I will hydrate. And everyone, remember to drop. Wahaha, I take your patate. My patate. But Mr. Tart, you know we share patates. You know we share food. Everyone do that. And I even share them with trolls. Slash. Oh, and Mr. Tart just missed me. Nice. Does she attack me now? Or does she miss me again? She just missed me. And I landed. Woohoo! Death. No, it didn't. But it's great for dancing. Oh, Jin, you just came a little bit too late. That's sad. But as soon as the bush is away, you can drop. And then we can see if you land. As far as I remember, it disappears after like 90 seconds or something like that. You got kicked out of the chat? No, that's not fair. Yeah, Twitch Mobile sucks. But it's better than nothing when you can't be by the computer. Or when you're just like being in... Yeah, being in the bed or just sitting in a sofa or something. It's fine to me. Remember what we talked about yesterday. Hey, and now we go again. I hope I hit the... There we go. I found it again. That just sucks. But yeah, to all the new people, when we are about to finish this this series, I will upload a poll to my Discord, which you can all participate in, and tell me which book I should get next and read for you people. Because it's very important to me that we all enjoy reading and enjoy being here. Watership Down. Is that a book? Well, my lovely mods can take suggestions and write them in Discord, and I will see what's kind of matches the vibe of the stream. So Earthling, if you can just take all the suggestions and make a new forum in the Discord, or should I make it for you? So you can just write the suggestions in. Okay, I will make the forum. And of course, all suggestions interesting, because you have written in there before. That was the wrong one. It was this one. Safety setup. Yeah, 2 seconds. It's because it requires it for moderator actions. There. Now I have turned that off. Yeah, but you need every time you make a moderation thing, you need to do it, but you should be able to do it without moderation now. I should have removed it. So yeah, have you removed it so you can just do things now, Earthling? Maybe? Well, maybe it's better than no. Okay. I just want to make sure that we get all of the things in there. Um, because I forget very fast, and I don't like that. And USA Percy Jackson. I actually looked at Percy Jackson in the bookstore, and it was actually kind of cheap for the books. As far as I can remember, it was like 16 euro a piece. But that is also very fine. So did I get all of them? I got Watership Down and I got Percy Jackson. Okay, nice. I got them all. So here we go again. And remember, all suggestions are welcome. But I'm just gonna see if it passes like the vibe of the stream. And then of course you all get to choose afterwards. There have been 2 days in this country when the weather turned wet. The wind began to blow steadily out of the west and pour the water of distant seas on the dark heads of the hills into the fine drenching rain. But it doesn't have to be happy. It just needs to be kind of relaxing. And I need to be able to like read it properly, like I do with Lord of the Rings, because Lord of the Rings is not a happy story either. In Lord of the Rings, you have sorrow, you have happiness, you have sacrifice. Um, you have a lot of things. So what I'm more looking at is something interesting for stream. Guys, I will look at it when when I get to it, and then we will see if it's something I think fits. If you want to tell me, do it in Discord so I don't get distracted on stream for it. Oh, hello, Andy. Hi. Thank you for the raid. Hi, Bear. Welcome in. So, everything, do it at Discord. I don't want to see it in here. So welcome to all the raiders. Earthling, Discord. Hi, Doc. Hi, Mellified. Hi. Welcome in, everyone. It's very nice to see you in here. So now we just need the streamer to come. So have you left Andy in England, or is he also coming here? Because we want to see what he have done. Hi, Night Rose. Welcome in. Oh, can somebody else share what you have done today? Hi, Hayes. Hi. Welcome in. Oh, that is mine. Wahaha. Oh, it's 100% okay. Just remember to drop with us all. Come on, people. We need more people in the drop. Just put in exclamation mark drop. And you have about 5 seconds left. So 3 people. And of course, Miss Deathheart is just being a menace in here. Oh, sorry, chair. A little bit too late. Ooh. But yeah, when the drop is redeemed, you have 60 seconds to come into the drop. But let's see. Is it just me, or Andy has an Instagram, right? As far as I can, yeah. There we go. There. Dang. There we go. So this is some of the things Andy does. And I think this one was the one he was working on today, or am I wrong? Or maybe he hasn't uploaded it yet because he had to run. But well, all of these things are some very nice art pieces which Andy has done, at least while I have known him. And let's see if we can find the picture or the airbrush painting that I won, and which is on the way to me. Wahaha. Yeah, that is. So Andy, he painted this, and then he made a giveaway, and apparently I won it. So as soon as it comes here, I will show you all on stream, and of course it will also be put up with me. Oh, that's fair. Thank you for telling me, Doc. But yeah, I really like this one. It just shows the skill that Andy has with his airbrush, and he can actually work again now that he got a new compressor. So he paints on very much on motorcycle parts and motorcycle vests, but he also does some small paintings like the Big Ben and the sorrow of the soldier which has fallen. All of the small details are made with an airbrush. And here we have the man himself. This guy. And as far as I know, that is his wife. Or am I completely off? I might be completely off, but yeah, I don't know. And yeah, he also did Xbox controllers. Yeah, that's Susie, yeah. Nice, thank you for telling me. Come on, Andy, look a little bit happier. But yeah, he has a lot of amazing art. Oh, girlfriend Susie. Nice. So everyone, here's the link if you want to go and show Andy some love. And of course, now my brain needs to work, please. I think it's like this. Okay, it's so long ago that I need to see what the command is. There it goes. Yeah, please do share. Thank you. So that is Andy. And please go give him a follow. He's a very nice person as well. Fuck. Just closed everything down. Boom, 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 boom. I just need to open the things I had opened before. There we go. But yeah, go follow Andy if you want to, of course. But he's a very nice fellow. Yeah, you can do that. That's fine. But for now, we will just read a little bit more, and then we will get to it in a little bit pace. Yeah. The wind began to blow steadily out of the west and pour the water of the distant seas on the dark heads of the hills in fine drenching rain. By nightfall they were all soaked, and their camp was cheerless. For they could not get any fire to burn. The next day the hills rose still higher and steeper before them, and they were forced to turn away northwards out of their course. Strider seemed to be getting anxious. They were nearly 10 days out from Weathertop. and their stock of provisions was beginning to run low. It went on raining. That night they camped on a stony shelf with a rock wall behind them, in which there was a shallow cave, a mere scoop in the cliff. Frodo was restless. The cold and wet had made his wound more painful than ever, and the ache and sense of deadly chill took away all sleep. He lay tossing and turning and listening fearfully to the stealthy night noises, wind in chinks of rock, water dripping, a crack, a sudden rattling fall of a loosened stone. He felt that black shapes were advancing to smother him, but when he sat up, he saw nothing but the back of Strider sitting hunched up, smoking his pipe and watching. He lay down again and passed into an uneasy dream, in which he walked on the grass in his garden in the Shire, but it seemed faint and dim, less clear than the tall black shadows that stood looking over the hedge. In the morning he woke to find that the rain had stopped. The clouds were still thick, but they were breaking, and pale strips of blue appeared between them. The wind was shifting again. They did not start early. Immediately after their cold and comfortless breakfast, Strider went off alone, telling the others to remain under the shelter of the cliff until he came back. Earthling, do you want to? He was going to climb up, if he could, and get a look at the lie of the land. Thank you, Earthling. And can you also put something in that they so they can't do it again? Exactly, Melified. No, we don't want that. When he returned, he was not reassuring. We have come too far to the north, he said, and we must find some way to turn back southwards again. If we keep on as we are going, we shall end up into the Ethendales far north of Rivendell. That is troll country, and little known to me. We could perhaps find our way through and come round to Rivendell from the north, but it would take too long, for I do not know the way, and our food would not last. Just ban them. So somehow or other we must find the fort of Bruinen. Thank you. The rest of that day they spent scrambling over rocky ground. They found a passage between two hills that led them into a valley running southeast, the direction that they wished to take. But towards the end of the day, they found their road again barred by a ridge of highland, its dark edge against the sky was broken into many bare points like teeth of a blunted sword. They had no choice between going back or climbing over it. No, it's always in seconds. You can't do it in minutes. They decided to attempt the climb, but it proved very difficult. Before long, Frodo was obliged to dismount and struggle along on foot. Even so, they often despaired of getting their ponies up, or indeed of finding a path for themselves, burdened as they were. The light was nearly gone, and they were all exhausted. When at last they reached the top, they had climbed onto a narrow saddle between two higher points, and the land fell steeply away again. Only a short distance ahead, Frodo threw himself down and lay on the ground shivering. His left arm was lifeless, and his side and shoulder felt as if icy claws were laid upon them. The trees and rocks about him seemed shadowy and dim. "We cannot go any further," said Merry to Strider. "I'm afraid this has been too much for Frodo. I am dreadfully anxious about him. What are we to do? Do you think they will be able to cure him in Rivendell? If we ever get there?" Ah. Yeah. "We shall see," answered Strider. "There is nothing more that I can do in the wilderness, and it is chiefly because of his wound that I am so anxious to press on. But I agree that we could go no further tonight." "What is the matter with my master?" asked Sam in a low voice, looking appealingly at Strider. "His wound was small, and it is already closed. There's nothing to be seen but a cold white mark on his shoulder." "Frodo has been touched by the weapons of the enemy," said Strider, "and there is some poison or evil at work that is beyond my skill to drive out. But do not give up hope, Sam." Night was cold up on the high ridge. They lit a small fire down under the gnarled roots of an old pine that hung over a shallow pit. It looked as if stone had once been acquired there. They sat huddled together. The wind blew chilled through the pass, and they heard the treetops lower down, moaning and sighing. Frodo lay half in a dream, imagining that endless dark wings were sweeping by above him, and that on the wings rode pursuers that sought him in all of the hollows of the hills. "Yeah, Jinban, moaning, just like you." Oh, yeah, I did. I really had to say that. What would it have been? Would it have been me if I didn't say it? Yeah, I know you love us. The morning dawned bright and fair. The air was clean, and the light pale and clear in a rain-washed sky. Their hearts were encouraged, but they longed for the sun to warm their cold, stiff limbs. Stiff limbs. Mm. Hey! Remember, I might like it. As soon as it was light, Strider took Merry with him and went to survey the country from the height to the east of the pass. The sun had risen and was shining brightly when he returned with more comforting news. They were more or less in the right direction. If they went on down the further side of the ridge, they would have the mountains on their left. Some way ahead, Strider had caught a glimpse of the Loudwater again. And he knew that though it was hidden from view, the road to the ford was not far from the river, and lay on the side nearest to them. "We must make for the road again," he said. "We cannot hope to find a path through these hills. Whatever danger may beset, the road is our only way to the ford." As soon as they had eaten, they set out again. They climbed slowly down the southern side of the ridge, but the way was much easier than they had expected, for the slope was far less steep on this side. And before long, Frodo was able to ride again. Bilferni's poor old pony was developing an unexpected talent for picking out the path and for sparing its rider for many jolts as possible. The spirits of the party rose again. Even Frodo felt better in the morning light, but every now and again a mist seemed to obscure his sight, and he passed his hand over his eyes. Pippin was a little ahead of the others. Suddenly he turned round and called to them. "The path is here!" he cried. When they came up with him, they saw that he had made no mistake. There were clearly the beginning of a path that climbed with many windings out of the woods below and faded away on the hilltop behind. In places it was now faint and overgrown, or choked with fallen stones and trees, but at one time it seemed to have been much used. It was a path made by strong arms and heavy feet. Here and there old trees had been cut or broken down, and large rocks cloven or heaved aside to make a way. They followed the track for some while, for it offered much the easiest way down, but they went cautiously, and their anxiety increased as they came into the dark woods, and the path grew plainer and broader. Suddenly coming out of a belt of fir trees, it ran steeply down a slope and turned sharply to the left round the corner of a rocky shoulder of the hill. When they came to the corner, they looked round and saw that the path ran over a level strip under the face of a low cliff overhung with trees. In a stony wall there was a door hanging crookedly ajar upon the great hinge. Outside the door they all halted. There was a cave or rock chamber behind, but in the gloom inside nothing could be seen. Strider, Sam, and Merry, pushing with all the strength, managed to open the door a little wider, and then Strider and Merry went in. They did not go far, for on the floor lay many old bones, and nothing else was to be seen near the entrance except some great empty jars and broken pots. "Surely this is a troll hole, if there ever was one," said Pippin. "Come out, you two. Let us get away. Now we know who made the path, and we had better get off it quick." "There is no need, I think," said Strider, coming out. "It's certainly a troll hole, but it seems to have been long forsaken. I don't think we need to be afraid, but let us go on down warily, and we shall see." The path went on again from the door, turning to the right again across the level space, plunged down a thick wooded slope. Pippin, not liking to show Strider that he was still afraid, went on ahead with Merry, Sam and Strider came behind, one on each side of Frodo's pony, for the path was now broad enough for 4 or 5 hobbits to walk abreast. Come on, everyone! We need to drop again! Drop, 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 drop! My patate. Let's go! Come on, everyone! 25 seconds! Let's go! Ooh! My patate! Come on! You have 5 seconds left to join! And we are dropping! Ooh! If nobody is ruining it, I'm on the way. Of course. And nobody hit the egg bush. I killed no one. I'm just an adorable bonbon. I have done nothing. Okay. But they had not gone very far before Pippin came running back, followed by Merry. They both looked terrified. There are trolls, Pippin panted, down in a clearing in the woods not far below. We got a sight of them through the tree trunks. They are very large. We will come and look at them, said Strider, picking up a stick. Frodo said nothing, but Sam looked scared. The sun was now high, and it shone down through the half-stripped branches of the trees and lit the clearing with bright patches of light. They halted suddenly on the edge and peered through the tree trunks, holding their breath. There stood the trolls, 3 large trolls. One was stooping, and the other 2 stood staring at him. Strider walked forward unconcernedly. Get up, old stone, he said, and broke his stick upon the stooping troll. Nothing happened. There was a gasp of astonishment from the hobbits, and then even Frodo laughed. Well, he said, we are forgetting our family story. These must be the very 3 that were caught by Gandalf, quarreling over the right way to cook 13 dwarfs and 1 hobbit. I had no idea we were anywhere near the place, said Pippin. He knew the story well. Bilbo and Frodo had told it often. But as a matter of fact, he had never more than half believed it. Even now, he looked at the stone trolls with suspicion, wondering if some magic might not suddenly bring them to life again. You are forgetting not only your family history, but all you ever knew about trolls, said Strider. It is broad daylight with a bright sun, and yet you come back trying to scare me with a tale of live trolls waiting for us in this glade. In any case, you might have noticed that one of them has an old bird's nest behind his ear. That would be a most unusual ornament for a live troll. They all laughed. Frodo felt his spirit reviving. The reminder of Bilbo's first successful adventure was heartening. 'They The sun, too, was warm and comforting, and the mist before his eyes seemed to be lifting a little. They rested for some time in the glade, and took their midday meal right under the shadow of the troll's large legs. "Won't somebody give us a bit of a song while the sun is high?" said Mary, when they had finished. "We haven't had a song or a tale for days." Thank you, Earthling. Uh, Not since Weathertop, said Frodo. The others looked at him. "Don't worry about me," he added. "I feel much better. But I don't think I could sing. Perhaps Sam could dig something out of his memory." "Come on, Sam," said Mary. "There's more stored in your head than you let on about." "I don't know about that," said Sam. "But how would this suit? It ain't what I call proper poetry, if you understand me. Just a bit of nonsense. But these old images were brought it to my mind." Standing up with his hands behind his back, as if he was at school, he began to sing to an old tune. 2 seconds, I just need to get my blanket. And we are finishing this chapter today. Everything. There we go. Now I am blanket covered. Troll sat alone on his seat of stone, and munched and mumbled on a bare old bone. For many a year he had gnawed it near, for meat was hard to come by. Done by, gone by. In a cave in the hills he dwelt alone, and meat was hard to come by. Up came Tom with his big boots on. Said he to Troll, "Pray, what is yon? For it looks like the shin of an Uncle Tim, as should be a lion in paveyard. This many a year has Tim been gone, and I thought he were lying in graveyard." "My lad," said Troll, "this bone I stole, but what be bones that lie in a hole? Thine uncle was dead as a lump of lead, afore I found his shin bone. Tin bone, thin bone. He can spare a share for a poor old troll, for he don't need his shin bone." Said Tom, "I don't see why the likes o' thee, with axe and leaves, should be making free with the shank or shin o' my father's kin. So hand the old bone over, rover, trover. Though dead he be, it belongs to he, so hand the old bone over. For a couple of pins," says Troll and grins, "I'll eat thee too, and gnaw thy shins. A bit of fresh meat will go down sweet. I'll try my teeth on thee now, he now, see now. I'm tired of gnawing old bones and shins. I've a mind to dine of thee now." But just as he thought his dinner was cold, he found his hand had hold of Nord. Before he could mind, Tom slipped behind, and gave him the boot to warn him, darn him. A bumper boot on the seat, Tom thought would be the way to larn him. But harder than the stone is flesh and bone of a troll that sits in the hills alone. As well set your boot to the mountain's root, for the seed of a troll don't feel it, peel it, heal it. Old Troll laughed when he heard Tom groan, and he knew his toes could feel it. Tom's leg is game, since home he came, and his bootless foot is lasting lame. But Troll don't care, and he's still there, with the bone he boned from its owner, donor boner. Troll's seed is still the same, and the bone he boned from his owner. Well, that's a warning to us all, laughed Mary. It is as well as you use the stick and not your hand, Strider. Where did you come by that, Sam? Asked Pippin. I've never heard those words before. Sam muttered something inaudible. It's out of his own head, of course, said Frodo. I'm learning a lot about Sam Gamgee on this journey. First he was a conspirator. Now he's a jester. He'll end up by becoming a wizard or warrior. I hope not, said Sam. I don't want to be neither. In the afternoon they went on down the woods. They were probably following the very track that Gandalf, Bilbo, and the dwarf had used many years before. After a few miles, they came out on the top of a high bank above the road. At this point, the road had left the hovel far behind in its rolling and winding eastward among woods and heather-covered slopes towards the ford and the mountains. Not far down the bank, Strider pointed out a stone in the grass. On it, roughly cut and now much weathered, could still be seen dwarf runes and secret marks. There, said Mary, that must be the stone that marked the place where the troll's gold was hidden. How much is left of Bilbo's share? I wonder, Frodo. Frodo looked at the stone, and which the Bilbo had brought home no treasure more precious nor less easy to part with. None at all, he said. Bilbo gave it all away. He told me he did not feel it was really his, as it came from robbers. The road lay quiet under a long shadowy of early evening. There was no sign of any other travelers to be seen, and there was now no other possible course for them to take. They climbed down the bank, and turning left, they went off as fast as they could. Soon a shoulder of the hills cut off the light of the fast westering sun. A cold wind flowed down to meet them from the mountains ahead. They were beginning to look out for a place of the road where they could camp for the night, when they heard a sound that brought sudden fear back into their hearts, the noise of hoofs behind them. They looked back, but they could not see far because of the many windings and rolling of the road. As quickly as they could, they scrambled off the beaten way, up into the deep heather and bilberry brushwood on the slopes above, until they came to a small patch of thick Roman hazels. As they peered out from among the bushes, they could see the road, faint and grey in the failing light, some 30 feet below them. The sound of hoofs drew nearer. They were going fast, with a light clippity-clip, then faintly, as if it was blown away from them by the breeze, they seemed to catch a dim ringing of a small bell's tinkling. That does not sound like a black rider's horse, said Frodo, listening intently. The other hobbits agreed hopefully that it did not, but they all remained full of suspicion. They had been in fear of pursuit for so long that any sound from behind seemed ominous and unfriendly. But Strider was now leaning forward, stooped to the ground with his hand to his ear, and a look of joy came on his face. The light faded, and the leaves on the bushes rustled softly. Clearer and nearer now the bells jingled, and the clippity clip came to quick trotting feet. Suddenly into view below came a white horse, gleaming in the shadows, running swiftly. In the dusk, its headstall flicking and flashed, as if it were studded with gems of the living stars. The rider's cloak streamed behind him, and his hood was thrown back. His golden hair flowed shimmering in the wind of his speed. To Frodo it appeared that a white light was shining through the form and raiment of the rider, as if through a thin veil. Strider sprang from hiding and dashed down towards the road, leaping with a cry through the heather. But even before he had moved a cord, the rider had reined his horse and halted, looking up towards the thicket where they stood. When he saw Strider, he dismounted and ran to meet him, calling out, Aina vidu dunadan, maguanan. His speech and clear ringing voice left no doubt in the hearts. The rider was of elven folk. No other that dwelt in the wide world had voices so fair to hear, but there seemed to be a note of haste or fear in his call, and they saw that he was now speaking quickly and urgently to Strider. Soon Strider beckoned to them, and the hobbits left the bushes, hurried down to the road. This is Glorfindel, who dwells in the house of Elrond, said Strider. Hail and well met at last. The elf lord to Frodo, I was sent from Rivendell to look for you. We feared that you were in danger upon the road. Then Gandalf has reached Rivendell, cried Frodo joyfully. No, he had not when I departed, but that was 9 days ago, answered Glorfindel. Elrond received news that troubled him. Some of my kindred journeying in your land beyond the Barrendune, the Brandywine River, learned that things were amiss and sent messages as swiftly as they could. They said that the nine were abroad, and that you were astray, bearing a great burden without guidance. For Gandalf had not returned. There are few even in Rivendell that can ride openly against the nine, but such as they were, Elrond sent out north, west, and south. It was thought that you might turn far aside to avoid pursuit, and become lost in the wilderness. It was my lot to take the road, and I came to the bridge of Mithrindel and left a token there. Nigh on 7 days ago. 3 of the servants of Sauron were upon the bridge, but they withdrew, and I pursued them westward. I came also upon 2 others, but they turned away southward. Since then I have searched for your trail. 2 days ago I found it, and followed it over the bridge, and today I marked where you descended from the hills again. But come, there is no time for further news. Since you are here, we must risk the peril of the road and go. There are 5 behind us, and when they find your trail upon the road, they will ride after us like the wind. And they are not all. Where the other 4 may be, I do not know. I fear that we may find the fort is already held against us. While Glorfindel was speaking, the shades of evening deepened. Frodo felt a great weariness come over him. Ever since the sun began to sink, the mist before his eyes had darkened, and he felt that a shadow was coming between him and the faces of his friends. Now pain assailed him, and he felt cold. He swayed, clutching at Sam's arm. My master is sick and wounded, said Sam angrily. He can't go on riding after nightfall. He needs rest. Glorfindel caught Frodo as he sank to the ground, and taking him gently into his arms, He looked in his face with grave anxiety. Briefly Strider told of the attack on the camp on the weathertop, and of the deadly knife. He drew out the hilt which he had kept, and handed it to the elf. Glorfindel shuddered as he took it, but he looked intently at it. There are evil things written on this hilt, he said, though maybe your eyes cannot see them. Keep it, Aragon, till we reach the house of Elrond, but be wary, and hand it as little as you may. Alas, the wound of this weapon are beyond my skill to heal. I will do what I can, but all the more do I urge you now to go on without rest. He searched the wound on Frodo's shoulder with his fingers, and his face grew graver, as if what he has learned disquieted him. But Frodo felt the chill lessen in his side and arm, and little warmth crept down from his shoulder to his hand, and the pain grew easier. The dusk of evening seemed to grow lighter about him, as if a cloud had been withdrawn. He saw his friends' faces more clearly again, and a measure of new hope and strength returns. You shall ride my horse, said Glorfindel. It will shorten the stirrups to the saddle skirts, and you must sit as tight as you can. But you need not fear, my horse will not let any rider fall that I command him to bear. His pace is light and smooth, and if danger presses too near, he will bear you away with speed that even the black steeds of the enemy cannot rival. No, he will not, said Frodo. I shall not ride him. If I am to be carried off to Rivendell or anywhere else, leaving my friends behind in danger. Glorfindel smiled. I doubt very much, he said, if your friends would be in danger if you were not with them. The pursuit would follow you and leave us in peace, I think. It is you, Frodo, and that which you bear that brings us all in peril. To that Frodo had no answer, and he was persuaded to mount Glorfindel's white horse. The pony was laden instead with a great part of the other's burdens, so that they now marched lighter, and for a time made good speed. But the hobbits began to find it hard to keep up with the swift, tireless feet of the elf. On he led them into the mouth of the darkness, and still on under the deep clouded night. There was neither star nor moon. Not until the grey dawn did he allow them to halt. Pippin, Merry, and Sam were by that time nearly asleep on the stumbling legs, and even Strider seemed to sag of his shoulder to be weary. Frodo sat upon the horse in a dark dream. They cast themselves down in the heather of a few yards from the roadside and fell asleep immediately. They seemed to hardly have closed their eyes when Glorfindel, who had set himself to watch while they sleep, awoke them again. The sun had now climbed far in the morning, and the clouds and mist of the night were gone. Drink this, said Glorfindel to them, pouring for each in turn a little liquor from his silver-studded flask of leather. It was clearly a spring water and had no taste, and it did not feel either cool or warm in the mouth, but strength and vigor seemed to flow in all their limbs as they drank it. Eaten after that draught, the stale bread and dried fruit, which was now all they had left, seemed to satisfy their hunger better than many a good breakfast in Shire had done. They rested rather less than 5 hours when they took to the road again. Glorfindel still urged them on, and only allowed 2 brief halts during the day march. In this way they covered almost 20 miles before nightfall, and came to a point where the road bent right and ran down towards the bottom of the valley, now making straight for the Bruinen. So far there had been no sign or sound of pursuit that the hobbits could see or hear, but often Glorfindel would halt and listen for a moment if the lag behind or a look of anxiety clouded his face. Once or twice he spoke to Strider in the elf tongue, but however anxious the guides might be, it was plain that the hobbits could go no further that night. They were stumbling along, dizzy with weariness, and unable to think of anything but their feet and legs. Frodo's pain had redoubled, and during the day things about him faded to shadows of the ghostly grey. He almost welcomed the coming of night, for then the world seemed less pale and empty. The hobbits were still weary when they set out again early next morning. There were many miles yet to go between them and the fort, and they hobbled forward at the best pace they could manage. Our peril will be greatest just ere we reach the river, said Glorfindel, for my heart warns me that the pursuit is now swift behind us, and other danger may be waiting by the fort. The road was still running steadily down, and there was now in places much grass on either side, in which the hobbits walked when they could to ease their tired feet. Welcome back to me. Yeah, I need to drink something. My throat is pretty dry by now. In the late afternoon, they came to a place where the road went suddenly under the dark shadow of tall pine trees. Ooh! Hi, Lemon! Welcome in! And then plunged into a deep cutting with steep, moist walls of red stone. Echoes ran along as they hurried forward, and there seemed to be a sound of many footfalls following their own. All at once, as if through a gate of light, the road ran out again from the end of the tunnel into the open. There at the bottom of a sharp incline, they saw before them a long flat mile, and beyond that the fort of Rivendell. On the further side was a steep brown bank, threaded by a winding path, and behind that the tall mountains climbed, shoulder above shoulder and peak beyond peak, into the fading sky. Hi, May! Hi! Oh, it's fine. Yeah, you know me, May. Mm, I just like to see people. If they come in by the end, that is also fine. Oh, fine. Don't you worry. I just love to see people. Yeah, me too. It's the usual music I go with when I do these kinds of readings. But now we will see what is happening, because I'm soon done with the chapter, and then for some reason they go to book 2, it seems, which doesn't make sense. But here we go. That is all fine, May, but remember to take care of yourself as well. Well, Stevie, it's the reason I do this. Is for people to just be calm and relaxed. Always remember to take care of yourself, May. Always remember that. There was still an echo as of following feet in the cutting behind them, a rushing noise as if wind were rising and pouring through the branches of the pines. One moment Glorfindel turned and listened, then he sprang forward with a loud cry. Uh, Fly, he called, fly, the enemy is upon us. The white horse leaped forward. The hobbits ran down the slope. Glorfindel and Strider followed as rear guard. They were only half away across the flat when suddenly there was a noise of horse galloping. Out of the gate in the trees that they had just left rode a black rider. He reined his horse in and halted, swaying in his saddle. Another followed him, and then another, and then again two more. Ride forward, ride! Cried Glorfindel to Frodo. He did not obey at once, for a strange reluctance seized him. Checking the horse to walk, he turned and looked back. The rider seemed to sit upon the great steeds, like threatening of statues upon a hill. Dark and solid, while all the woods and land about them receded as if into a mist. Suddenly he knew in his heart that they were silently commanding him to wait. Then at once fear and hatred awoke in him. His hand left the bridle and gripped the hilt of his sword, and with a red flash he drew it. Ride on, cried Glorfindel, and then loud and clear he called to the horse in elven tongue, Norrolim, Norrolim Atfalot. At once the white horse sprang away and sped like the wind along the last lap of the road. At the same moment, the black horses leaped down the hill in pursuit. From the riders came a terrible cry, such as Frodo had heard, filling the woods with horror of the Eastfarthing's farther way. It was answered, and to the dismay of Frodo and his friends out from the trees and rocks away left 4 other riders came flying. 2 rode towards Frodo, 2 galloped madly towards the fort to cut off his escape. They seemed to him to run like the wind and to grow swiftly larger and darker as the course converged with his. Frodo looked back for a moment over his shoulder. He could no longer see his friends. The riders behind were falling back. Even their great steeds were no match in speed for the white elf horse of Glorfindel. He looked forward again, and hope faded. There seemed no chance of reaching the fort before he was cut off by the others that had lain in ambush. He could see them clearly now. They appeared to have cast aside their hoods and black cloaks, and they were robed in white and grey. Swords were naked in their pale hands, helms were on their heads. Their cold eyes glittered, and they called to him with filled voices. Fear now filled all Frodo's mind. He thought no longer of his sword. No cry came from him. He shut his eyes and clung to the horse mane. The wind whistled in his ears, and the bells upon the harness rang wild and shrill. A breath of deadly cold pierced him like a spear, as with a last spurt, like a flash of white fire. The elf was speeding as if on wings, passed right before the face of the foremost rider. Frodo heard the splash of water. It foamed about his feet. He felt the quick heave and surge as the horse left the river and struggled up the stony path. He was climbing the steep bank. He was across the ford. But the pursuers were close behind. At the top of the bank, the horse halted and turned about nearing fiercely. There were 9 riders at the water's edge below, and Frodo's spears quailed before the tread of their uplifted faces. He knew of nothing that would prevent them from crossing as easily as he had done, and he felt that it was useless to try to escape over the long, uncertain path from the ford to the edge of Rivendell. If once the riders crossed, in any case he felt that he was commanded urgently to halt. Hatred again stirred in him, but he had no longer the strength to refuse. Suddenly, the foremost rider spurred his horse forward. It checked at the water and reared up. With great effort, Frodo sat upright and brandished his sword. "Go back," he cried. "Go back to the land of Mordor, and follow me no more." His voice sounded thin and shrill in his own ears. The riders halted, but Frodo had not the power of Bombadil. His enemy laughed at him with a harsh and chilling laughter. Come back, they called. "To Mordor we will take you." "Go back," he whispered. They ring. They cried with deadly voices, and immediately their leader urged his horse forward into the water, followed closely by the 2 others. "By Elbereth and Lúthien the Fair," said Frodo with a last effort, lifting up his sword, "you shall neither have the ring of me." Then the leader, who was now half across the ford, stood up menacing in his stirrups, and raised up his hand. Frodo was stricken dumb. He felt his tongue cleave to his mouth, and his heart laboring. His sword broke and fell out of his shaking hand. The elf horse reared and snorted. The foremost of the black horses had almost set foot upon the shore. At that moment there came a roaring and a rushing, a noise of loud waters rolling many stones. Dimly Frodo saw the river below him rise, and down along its course there came a plumed cavalry of wraiths. White flames seemed to Frodo to flicker at their crests, and he half fancied that he saw amid the water white riders upon their horses, with frothing manes. The 3 riders that were still in the midst of the fort were overwhelmed. They disappeared, buried suddenly under angry foam. Those that were behind drew back in dismay. With his last failing sense, Frodo heard cries, and it seemed to him that he saw, beyond the riders that hesitated on the shore, a shining figure of white light. And behind it ran small shadowy forms waving flames that flared red in the grey mist that was falling over the world. The black horses were filled with madness, and leaping forward in terror, they bore their riders into the rushing flood. Their piercing cries were drowned in the roaring of the river as it carried them away. Then Frodo felt himself falling, and the roaring and confusion seemed to rise and engulf him together with his enemies. He heard and saw no more. Hi Mike, welcome in. So this was the last of today's stream. So we will just try to find somebody to go and say hi to. And we will see if we can find someone. That is completely fine. Yeah, I saw it. I saw Andy was online. But I'm thinking that we are going to see a new person today, because last time we raided Andy, or it was the time before. I can't remember. I think it was last week. So I actually think that we will go see an Englishman, as I call a nice friend. You too, Mike. I really appreciate it. So we will go here and raid the nice person called Maka. He's an Englishman and he plays a lot of games, but he's a very nice fellow, and I'm really nice to see that he's come up again. Well, thank you to you all for being here. I really appreciate you being here. You are very welcome. So grab the raid messages, and then we will go see him. Thank you for today, and I will see you all next Sunday. Bye bye.